Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome. Good evening and welcome to the Red and Blue Review. My name is Nick Philpott and I am your host this evening. And I am about to be joined by Lord Holyoke of Holyoakers. How are you, mate?
I'm all right, yourself?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Ian Lyons, of course, is with us. Mate, are you well?
Yeah, bearing up, thank you. I hope everyone is well out there.
I think everybody's going to be well and happy, mate. Well and happy. And of course, look who's back again for his umpteenth appearance now. I can't say you're a virgin anymore, but welcome back to Mr. Noble. Ian Noble's with us. How are you, mate?
Very good, Nick. Yeah, couldn't be better tonight.
Happy, yeah. All happy bunnies. So it's going to be a nice, positive celebration of a show, eh? No? Oh, yeah, Noble. Hang on a minute. Ian Noble. Oh, sorry, Ian Lyons. Contentious. What was that all about?
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, great result. Yeah, I think it's great. Yeah, let's talk about it, shall we?
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, as I say, welcome along. This is not 5-year plan because we're not posh and toffee nosed. Okay, this is not back at the Homesdale Radio Nest or whatever they call themselves. Are they even in existence anymore? Who gives a shit? We are the Red and Blue Review, the only podcast you can listen and watch wherever you are in the world. And on that subject, good evening to Graham Kitcher, Richard Harvey, Neil Chatterjee, Teresa Bago, Mark, Luke, Roger Dixon. There's loads of you. Tom Clark, Samuel, Colin Squires. Each and every one of you, thank you for joining us. Let's have a bit of fun. There's 57 of you out there already. We are live. We are the only podcast you can watch. Before we get onto the show, if you are watching this right now, do me a favour so other people can watch it. Hit your share button and go into Watch Party. Hit a Watch Party and get as many people off your own wall to come and join us so they can see us live, so they can see what we do. We give up our Sunday evenings every week for you, okay, for the love of our club. Let other people have a look at it. So we do it for the love. We don't get paid for this. This is a bit of fun between four blokes, okay? We used to be able to go to the pub after the game. We used to go to the gate after the game and have a pint. That was in the old days. Now we have to sit at home and do everything online, as you can see. So get other people to come and join us. So you can also don't forget to watch us on our website, redandbluereview.co.uk, on YouTube. Ask your Alexa to play the latest Red and Blue Review podcast, whatever you want, wherever you are in the world. We want you to join us. Well, none of us saw that result. Ian Lyons, I'll kick off with you. None of us saw that coming, did we?
No, and I'm grateful we got it, to be perfectly honest. And good to see Will back. Good to see Roy making some brave decisions. Everything's relative. It's decisions we've been calling for, dropping the likes of Ayew, etc., maybe Dan. But for Roy, they're brave decisions. So they paid off. He was quite positive in the when they went a man down. So, yeah, no, it was good. It's a shame the previous two games weren't as good.
So let's start off with that. Joe, I'm coming to you now, and there's a reason why I'm coming to you. You know that big bus that I drive, okay? You're about to go in underneath it, okay? So the lineup today was Guaita in goal, Klein, who I want to talk about in great detail later on, Kouache, Cahill, Van Aanholt, Schlupp, Milivojevic, MacArthur, Eze, Zaha, and somebody called, what was his name again? I've had it with him. I don't want him no more. I've had it. He can get out of my club. Christian Benteke, Jel. Surprise inclusion for you?
No, not really, because Roy obviously had a game plan where he was, thinking, today I won't take off the blokes that can cross. We'll cross, and hopefully he'll get on the end of some headers. I mean, the irony is that he could have kicked that ball in instead of headed it. But it don't matter. But I'm not going to bash him today. As I've said before, if he's playing, I'll support him. I don't like him as a player. I haven't liked him, not even pretended to like him for the last 3 seasons. But today, 2020 is a strange year. It's been a mad year, It's we've all seen strange things. And the strangest thing I've seen this year, he scored twice in a game. I mean, he scored, but he scored twice. And I'm like, it's 2020. What do you expect?
Joe, you said there's some feedback from Facebook from someone?
No. I said, I said we're getting some feedback. I can hear myself on you guys. So one of you guys, I can hear.
Oh, right.
So,
Feedback.
it might be
as opposed
Tim.
to feed-
Tell Tim to turn his thing off. I don't know.
Okay, Tim, if you're not muted, make sure you are. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, in the chat, I can see every single one of your comments already. Matty Cannon in there. Daniel, hello guys. He says, Someone's just told you to be nice, Jill. Okay.
I am going to be nice.
John Knox said hello to you, Jill, in particular. Rob Rolls, Nigel Crouch, and Simon Philpott, my brother, just made a comment saying, he said to me earlier in the week, he said, Benteke will play and Benteke will score. So he got it absolutely bang on. He's got nothing else to do at the moment. He's sitting at home recuperating, but he was absolutely right. Ian, there's also another comment in there. Ian Noble, this is. There's another comment in there. Roy out. And I think it's by Richard Harvey. Roy out, which is obviously a sarcastic reference to the two previous games. What do we do about the quandary before we get onto the game? And we will talk about the game in some great detail. The issue of being Roy Hodgson. We have two crap defeats, okay, and then a result like today. What do we do about the quandary of Mr. Hodgson, Mr. Noble?
I don't think we have had two crap defeats in the two previous games. We lost two games, 1-0 and 2-0, but they weren't crap defeats. Let's just take them very briefly. We'll talk about today later, obviously. Burnley, we went one down early on. We chased the game. We didn't have the rub of the green. We lost 1-0. You know how hard it is to go there. Everton found out that this weekend. Home to Newcastle. Don't forget, both these games without Wilf. Home to Newcastle. We were the better side for much of the second half. Trying to get that goal. They caught us on the break. All right, we're bad defending. And then the second one is academic. So we were in that game till 88 minutes. So I don't think we've been crap in the last two games. I think, clearly we've improved today. So it hasn't come as a massive surprise to me. And I'm not a Roy out person. I'm not the kind of guy that's saying Roy in either. I don't want him in for the long term. Crikey, the guy's 73 for goodness sake. So we have got to look at a succession plan for Roy. And I wish what someone said, I don't know where I saw it, whether it was on this show last week. What we ought to do is we ought to have a succession plan for Roy, be talking about it publicly that we're looking for a manager, whoever that might be, and say, Roy, agree with Roy how long he's got. Roy's going to be here to the end of this season or to the end of the season after, whatever it is, and we've got a plan to get someone in to replace him. We've got to do that because of his age, if nothing else, But, you can't just... This season isn't about one or two games like this. It's a marathon, not a sprint, a season in the Premier League. And it was nice today because we got the rub of the green. And we got the points, but it did surprise us all, of course, with the 5 goals. Instead of my 2-1 prediction, which I thought was fair enough,
The other Ian, picking up on what Mr. Noble just said, so we don't win 2 games on the bounce without Wilf. Wilf comes back into the team. We win and we win handsomely. Doesn't that put a little bit more onus on the fact we're a 1-player squad now?
Yeah, I mean, it's something we discussed last week, wasn't it? Is it actual? Is it psychosomatic? I'm still not. Look, I know the stats say it, so there has to be something in it. But I think certainly people are buying into the stats as opposed to trying to change it. And I also think with the way that we play football, and we'll be in our only really attacking threat by and large a lot of the time, when he's not in the picture, Hodgson's way of playing football means that we're likely to either draw or lose because we're not going to create many chances. But I think under Hodgson, it's 10 out of 12 games that Wilf's been missing that we've lost. So yeah, I would say it is for the time being, but we've got to move on. We can't keep relying on Wilf. We put him on a pedestal and cause our own problems. Let's talk about the other players, the Eze's.
Oh, we will. We definitely
big Ben Teke's. All the other stars of the team. The Cahill, what a player he is. But I think we need to move on. We need to learn not to be so so reliant on one individual, because that then becomes our Achilles heel.
Jel?
So Beckham, the Achilles heel, and then after that it was Rooney for Man United, and then who was the little fella, Hazard for Chelsea. Every team has a talisman. Every team, and Wolf.
Yeah, but they would win without them.
No. Well, I don't know about that. I mean,
Were they? We don't know. I don't know.
But what I'm saying is, no, I don't think so. But I would say that since Rooney's left, that Chelsea and but anyway, they've got City and Chelsea and that have sort of taken over. But anyway, that's. I want to get. What are we going to do? Are we going to talk about Benteke first? Or
we're going to go through the game, and we're going to come to Benteke shortly. Okay. So, boys, I don't know if you're aware today, but history was made. So Palace today, for the first time in their history, scored 5 goals in an away fixture. Not for the first time in the Premier League, but for the first time in the top flights. An own goal by Donald Furlong, 2 goals and assists for Zaha, plus 2 goals from Christian Benteke, secured the win for Palace against one of Roy's previous clubs. This is what I'm coming on to next, boys. Roy made 3 changes, bringing back Wilf following his COVID timeout. Plus, he brought back skipper Luka Milivojevic. But of course, the main talking point was the shock, in my mind, the absolute shock of the inclusion of Christian Benteke. Now, I don't think, although he hadn't scored for us, Batshuayi had done that badly. I don't think Schlupp had done that badly. And, although he sulks too much for my liking, I wish he put a smile on his bloody face. But I, for one, wasn't prepared for the Benteke inclusion. I knew that he'd made a couple of, I think we mentioned it last week, that a couple of his cameos that he put on, 15-minute cameos, he played really well, really looked good. Ian, what is it about Ian Noble? What about Benteke? There was something different about him today. He was on it. He was on the pace. He was challenging for every ball. His stats weren't great, okay, but what was the difference with Benteke today?
He was, Nick, but you said you didn't see it coming, but didn't you predict him to be included in your player prediction? So you must have seen it coming. But you did anyway. But you asked me a question. Right, actually, yeah. Okay. Well, yes, he was in his game. Now, if you watched the Roy pre-match interview, he was asked that question. Why have you included Christian Benteke in the starting 11? And he said basically he's impressed in training. He's done okay when he's come on for his cameo appearances this season, which he has. And it's also the only combination he hasn't tried up top, on the basis that if you're playing 2 up top and one of them's Wilf, he started Ayew, he started Batshuayi, and he hasn't tried Benteke. So he's thinking, I've come off the back of 2 defeats. All right. I don't think we've done too bad. We lost them both, and they're games we could and should have won, and we would have won previous seasons. So I've got to make some changes. And he rang the changes, or he ringed the changes, whatever way you say it. And that's a good thing. And I applaud Roy for that he actually made those changes. And it wasn't just Benteke, there were 1 or 2 others as well, as we know. So I think that Benteke is a player that's a confidence player. The commentary in the game said that. His first goal was, had to be in the right place at the right time. And as Jel has already said, he stoops low for the header. It was a good move down the left, PVA pulling it back. But the 5th goal, sometimes when you're playing a game at that level, when you're 4-1 up and you're cruising, then you take chances. You relax a bit more. And I think that's what happened today. I think if it's 1-1, Christian Benteke doesn't necessarily do that for the 5th goal. It's because it's 4-1 and he's relaxed. And he made the goal himself. It was a good ball in by Kleiny, I think. But he made that goal himself. So, yes, he had a great game. And I hope that he takes that confidence and carries on. And he gets selected for the Spurs game and he carries that on in the games ahead.
Interesting. John, coming to you in a second. Ian Lyons next, okay? Looking ahead, and we will talk about the Spurs game coming up. Does he include him in the Spurs game? I mean, how can he possibly drop Benteke?
Exactly. I mean, I think the same question was asked to Graham Souness, and he said, "Why not? It's just scored 2 goals."
Yeah.
And we've been saying for ages on here, our strikers can score goals if you give them the supply. Today, he got the supply. And before that, he had a couple of chances that they put last ditch blocks in. You know, in the last couple of games, he's had keepers make good saves from headers that, you know, were 50-50 on a better day could have gone in the back of the net, but they were both on target. The guy is not a total loss. I know that he's got a potential 12-month contract coming up. Maybe he's playing for that. But nevertheless, they're playing to his strengths now. But they have to continue to do that if we're going to see the best of him. If they don't, we might as well just get rid of him. You know, it's like any player, you know, that you're relying on. Unless you play to their strengths, you'll never get the best out of them. So, yes, he should play next week.
Jel, I'm going to give you Benteke's stats for the game today. 74% pass accuracy, 4 chances created, 3 out of 5 shots on target, 2 goals, 6 out of 16 duels won, and 8 losses of possession. He only had 35 touches. Benteke, in my opinion, gave us a Premier League ruthlessness and minimum input for maximum output. How do you think his stats would stack up? Would that be the sort of stats that you'd expect for our Premier League striker?
Absolutely. But let me just give you a stat that Radio London gave me today. 6 goals in 82 games. Anyway, he's done fantastic today. Just to go on to what Ian with hair has alluded to on the goals. So when Klein crossed the ball in for the 5th goal, it was 2 things that happened. Batshuayi, the dummy from Batshuayi was genius. And what they did, that took 2 of the players out. But the turn from Benteke, he spun 2 players and spun himself away from goal, but between 2 players, got himself 3 yards, and then smashed the ball left-footed in the bottom corner. What a goal! What a goal! I mean, that's just that's someone who's grabbed a bit of confidence at the game. From scoring earlier from a header, which I mean he's missed easier chances, you know, in the games that he had, the cameos that he's played in this season, and for the last 2 years. But he took it, you know, he did well today. And like I said, you know, I'm the biggest batcher of him without a doubt. But I did say to you, and I always have said, that if a player plays for us, I will support him. And you know, he's done fantastically. So I'm not going to turn around and, you know, and turn around and just keep hating on him, because he played really, really well today. And as the other guys have alluded to, does he deserve to play against Spurs next week? Absolutely. He scored 2 goals. I mean, well, saying he don't score 2 goals, you know, Jaro's played out of his skin, Eze's played out of his skin, and, you know, and Odson ain't played him next week. So, but, you know, I would hope to see him here. And again, playing him and Wilf up front is, you know, it allows Eze the freedom of being inside with like cutting inside with PVA on his outside. I mean, on that left side, it's what we were saying. Our best form of defence is attack. We're going to concede goals with our aging defence, and teams are getting bigger. West Brom are a very, very large, tall side, but you know, and they've only got what I would say is probably 2 or 3 really half-decent players. Gallagher being the star player, but we've got a far better squad than them. And in, you know, retrospectively, we should never really lose to them. But if, you know, after the last 2 games, if you'd have turned around and said, you know, they've come off a win, would you take a point today? I think most people would have said, yeah, we've been playing not brilliantly. Luck ain't been on our side or for whatever. Would you take a point there? I would have set a point there. We've walked away with a record away win. I mean, fantastic.
We're going to talk. Sorry, mate. We're going to talk about the goals in a minute. Joe, go on.
And Roy having at last having the you know, just changing the team up, but not changing it up because he has to, because of injury. You know, he picked a good. He picked the side today that got what it deserved.
Well, the other thing, of course, to point out there, and you mentioned it, his pre-match press conference is he's spoilt for choice. He's got lots of options available to him. Very little now on the injury list, and that's what you get for having options. He's got the Ayew, Batshuayi, and Benteke option up front, and that's what. Yeah, here you go.
Just quickly regarding Benteke, I know that Jel was quite rightly pointed out it was 1682. We've got to remember stats can also give false information. Out of those 82 games, he must have come on a sub for the last 2 minutes in 20 of them, and then maybe in the last 10 minutes of 30 of them. But I mean, you can change it round. You can say he's got 2 in one game. I mean, it's not just Jel, but me as well, have really gone to town on Benteke in a big way over the past. But one thing we're fair, and credit is where credit is due. You know, he scored 2 goals. It was against 10 men, but nevertheless, you know, we needed those goals. And long may it continue. If he starts scoring, everyone will forget it. You know, but it's all about the supply. Regardless of who's up front, I feel sorry for Batshuayi for not getting a look in at the minute. But the people that he's putting on are scoring goals. So, you know, long may it continue. And credit where it's due.
When was the last time Benteke scored 2 in a game?
Didn't they say 2017?
2017 away, Liverpool away.
Liverpool away. The last team to win at Anfield in the league.
Yeah.
Crystal Palace.
Yes. So we're talking about credit where it's due or otherwise. I want to talk about Patrick Van Aanholt and Ebery Eze. Okay, 2 contrasting players and had 2 contrasting performances today. Somebody talk to me. I don't mind who. Put your hand up. Talk to me about Patrick Van Aanholt and how you thought he played today. Any volunteers?
I'm going to sit on my hands before. I don't want to take this over, so I'll let one of these 2 go first.
Why are people slagging him off so much? Because I don't think he played bad. All right, so he went for that the goal. You could argue that he should have cut that ball out, but it was a good ball.
It was a great ball.
It was a good ball.
Oh, fantastic.
And, you know, he wasn't the only one because it didn't go straight in after that. You know, there was other bits of play. I thought he was going forward again. He gives us something extra down the left flank. I mean, he got an assist for the 3rd goal. And, you know, people are talking about Mitchell, young Mitchell and I've said on this show before that I think Mitchell's a better defender. PVA gives us more going forward. But, you know, before this season, we didn't really, or at the end of last season, we never heard of Mitchell. You know, he's coming and done all right, but I think the boy's got to bide his time. I pick PVA at left back all day, every day, ahead of Mitchell. I really do. And I don't think he's a bad defender. All right, again, he has a few moments. But there was one time today in the second half when he intercepted the ball in our box and he almost dribbled across the penalty area and cleared it from right back because no one else was helping him out. He's a great footballer. And I'm pleased he's on our side. You know, they're talking about him going to Ajax, aren't they, or somewhere in Holland or somewhere like that in January. I hope he doesn't. I hope he stays. But that's my opinion anyway.
That's more of a career finishing move, though, isn't it? That's going back to your home country and being, you know, playing top football over there before you end up going to China for, you know, with has-beens. But for me, PBA. I mean, you got you go to all the games, you know what I mean? So you see it all the time. But from what I see of him, I think he's a much better. I think he's much better in the other half, in the opposition's half, than he is in ours. So, but look, and again, like you just said, you know, he's had to go from left back and then get rid of it at right back because at the moment the only thing that's stopping him from being able to progress to being one of the definitely a top 10 team is that we don't offer our own players enough options. Just watch any decent side. When the player's got the ball, he will have when it's City, Liverpool, Arsenal, you know, all that lot, Spurs, they will always have 1 or 2 or 3 options to pass. Inevitably, our options to pass are either backwards or hoof, because no one comes short to take an option or prepared to take a ball in a tighter space.
Ian Noble, talk to me about Nathaniel Klein on the other side. How do you think he performed today?
Yeah, I thought he had a great game. I thought Kleiny had a really good game today, probably his best game since he's been back. And I think he's improving with every game. He looked assured defensively, and he looked good going forward, and he got an assist. I don't think you can really fault him today. I thought he played very well.
And you know what? That's exactly the reason why we keep inviting you back on the show, because your knowledge is very good. His stats are as follows.
I watch a football match and I'll tell you what I see.
81% pass accuracy for Nathaniel Klein today. 1 chance created. You're correct in 1 assist. 5 out of 5 ground duels won. 1 dribble completed. Okay, and 1 interception. Yeah, I thought to me, somebody actually said, I think it was Lee Lockwood said in the chat a minute ago that it was his best game, and he's getting better and better at all the games he's played.
What we've got to do, though, is we've got to tie him down, I think. What is he, 29, Kleiny? Something like that.
Yeah.
We've got to tie him down to a slightly longer-term contract, I think. I'd offer him a couple of years, maybe, based on
the
what
Klein
I've been
scenario. Yeah, go on, Joe.
Yeah, when it comes to Nathaniel Klein on the right-hand side, I said last week that we were playing so narrow that we were ignoring him when he was in acres and acres of space. And I've seen this a few games this season where he's just not been used. We don't actually have the baller to smack a 50-yard ball to him or 60-yard ball. But he's proved today. I mean, I remember seeing him, not for us, because obviously when he played for us, he was just going to the halfway line. That was it. But when he played for Liverpool, they got him to bomb on. He was a wing back, and he does love to cut in and shoot. He really does. I mean, given half a chance, he will shoot. But it's not that bad a crosser at all. So it was nice to see him be fed out wide, for him to play the crossing. Even though, like I said, that it was made, the pass was made 100 times better by Batshuayi's dummy for Ben Seki. But yeah, he's solid. He's solid, and that's what we want.
Yeah, I can't disagree with anything the two of you have said. I have. Look, we all know PVA is better going forward than he is a defender. He's not a great defender. It just, for me, with PVA is that when he gets that, you look now, teams are attacking PVA rather than Klein because they know he's a weakness, certainly defensively. And when he makes mistakes, they seem to always bloody end up in goals. That's the most frustrating thing. Klein has started very slowly, and you have to remember that he's come back from a long layoff, etc., etc., etc. But he looks as though he's getting back there. But again, we have to moderate this and be sensible. It was against 10 men, and they weren't offering much at all. They were looking to defend, so they had all this room to run around in anyway. But yes, Klein for me is looking looking worth a contract. PVA, I'm not so sad. I wouldn't be so sad if I saw him go. To be honest, but if he stays, then fine. Then fine, because as I say, he's a better than average fullback for the Premier League. But I think in Mitchell we've got a better one. And I hear what Ian's saying about Mitchell needs a bit of time, and he's not got what PVA has going forward. But I tell you now, he's a far better passer of the ball and is a far better defender than PVA.
It's a nice problem to have, isn't it? It really is. And that's what I think. That's what successful teams have, don't they? They have options almost in every position. And if you look at our squad now, you could put a shadow 11 out there if everyone's fit, and they're not far off, are they?
No, and this is what I said at the very top of the show, is that it was nice to see Roy make some, for him, brave decisions, because he normally sticks with the same old. And he didn't. He dropped Ambrose, he dropped Ayew, he dropped Dan, and brought players in. And those players, put in a performance for him. And that's how he should be doing it. He should be saying, now, you're all fighting for your place. So unless you actually pull trees up, Luca, do we talk about Luca's performance today?
Yeah, you can do. Go.
I mean, he looked, again, you have to take in consideration he's had COVID, or he's had to isolate anyway, and he's just come back. But he looked a bit off the ball, and he was there with his customary yellow card. So, Riedeveld, I think, is really going to be pushing him moving forward.
That was a stupid yellow card, wasn't it? It really was a ridiculous yellow card. I can't believe we're 5-1 up. It's 87 minutes, and he makes that challenge.
Pathetic, Jel.
Crazy.
We've always got players that are guaranteed. Like Benteke always gets a yellow card. Jimmy Mack always gets a yellow card. Jimmy Mack must be close to coming up to a ban soon, I imagine.
I think he's on 3. I think he's on three after his card today. Yeah, I thought he didn't play very well today. Jimmy Mack. I didn't think he had a particularly good game. He broke it up a bit.
Yeah.
He's never been sent off.
Has he not?
No. He's a nice guy. Yeah. Before we do some shout outs from the chats and people that are watching, I just want to go. I just want my only. It's some notes that I've written, so you guys can look through, see who you're going to be doing shout outs to. So the first goal, the own goal, almost a carbon copy, right, of Giroud's goal for Chelsea in the cup. Almost exactly the same. Their equaliser was almost a carbon copy of Darren Ambrose's goal at Hillsborough. Wilf's goal to make it 2-1 without the run was almost a carbon copy of the goal that he scored against Huddersfield. Where he went up to the crowd and give it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, similar. Yeah.
I was like thinking, hang on a minute, are we going through past goals here or something? But that was it. I just wanted to say that there was 3 goals.
Well, Joe, what you're saying is you did a bit of preparation and you wanted to get it into the show. Is that what you're saying?
For the first time, it's taken 4 years. It's taken 4 years for that.
I just got my assistant to bring me another cup of tea out.
Listen, Nick, we haven't spoken about Eze.
I'm doing it next. We need to do some shout outs to some people. We need to do some shout outs. There's lots of people. There's lots of people on there. Chris Petts, I can see you. Nigel Rose. Hello, Laurie Scott, Matty Cannon, Andrew Barnsdale, Jonathan Cook. I can see you all out there. Who else? Claire Davies is out there as well. Paul McNamara. Someone's out there. Joanne Phillips, Mark Drew. I'll probably repeat myself there. But guys, wherever you are watching in the world, we are immensely grateful. Thank you for giving up your Sunday as we give up ours. We're very, very grateful. Ebery Eze. Who wants to go on Ebery Eze? Boys, what have we found there? Have we unearthed a diamond? And the first person to pick his hand up there was the Lord Holyoke of and Paul Glance, by the way. Lord Holyoke, go.
The thing is, it shouldn't be a surprise because as soon as we signed him, every QPR fan, and I've got a couple of people that are friends with me on Facebook, will see my mate Andy Dedman, who's a massive QPR fan, season ticket holder, and he contacted me. He said, I'm telling you now, this geezer, you will keep him for 2 years and then get 50-odd million quid for him. He is an unbelievable player, and on a day, he's untouchable. He's quick, he's got 2 feet, and he said, we've said almost put him in Balassi's books, where I think where Balassi was skillful and didn't really know what he was doing. I think Eze knows what he's doing. I mean, he is. Today, him, PVA, and Wilf rampaging down the left half of that side was. I mean, he was unplayable. I mean, that literally for Wilf's, for Wilf's goal. I mean, you can see they had a bit of a chuckle about it because I think Wilf stole that goal off him. But what's the run? What's the run? And the 1-2, and again, with credits, the 1-2 he had with Benteke on the edge of the area to just split the defence open was majestic. And so this is the absolute frustration for me is that all 4 of us here, we know what we can do, right? If we're allowed to be Keegan-esque Newcastle. But I think that's what Roy's got. He's got that team. We will win 4-2, 4-3, 3-2. We will. That's the kind of team that we've got. We've got an unbelievably exciting.
Look at this fighting talk tonight, guys. Well,
finding a manager that's brave enough to play them that way, though.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is today he did do. And you've seen the way that Eze goes forward. I think he's for what we've paid for him, I don't care. We could have paid 25 million quid for him, and he would have been a steal.
I think
he had a great game today. He was really sublime today, wasn't he? I mean, the assist for the 4th goal was something else. And I tweeted when that goal went in, I said, How good is Eze? Wow. Think we've won this one. Hashtag CPFC. That tweet has had 123 likes. That's ridiculous. I'll never get 120 odd likes to my tweets. There is so much positivity out there about Ebre Eze. You know, everyone's excited about him. Every time he gets the ball, I think you're right, Jel. He knows what he's going to do with it, whereas Balassi never knew what he was going to do with it. And Ebre Eze is one Rolls Royce of a player, and he enjoys playing football, and he plays with a smile on his face. And if he stays at Crystal Palace for 2, 3, dare I dream, 5 years, it'll be fantastic. And he, you know, he is just he could rival Wilf for the kind of player. You know, I hope they play together for a long time. But if Wilf was to leave, then do you know what? It's not the end of the world when we've got a player like Eze. It really isn't.
Well, I mean, we got Eze as Wilf's understudy anyway, but I think actually it could work in our favour in keeping Wilf. If the right offer doesn't come in for him. But well, with Eze, you know, we said it from the start when we saw him, and I saw him play for QPR quite a bit last year. And he's like a gazelle. He's so graceful on the ball. He just glides across the pitch. And as you both touched upon, he plays with a smile on his face, and that's such a joy to see that a player and the team that we all know and love is actually enjoying playing there. And even better still, he's 22.
Yeah, got him for a long time.
The lady in the chat, Joan Wells, makes a really valid point. Joan says Wolf has improved since Eze has arrived. Well said, Joan. Agree with that.
Quite right, Joan.
Can we have a chat about Wilf?
Yeah, come on.
Go on.
Let's
talk about Wilf.
Don't tell anybody else. We'll do it just the four of us. Go for it. Go on, mate.
I turned around and said last year that if Wilf didn't go in January, that I think he will actually stay now. I think that's him. I think he'll stay. I think he'll be a career, and if we stick him up front, he will be able to stay with us.
Nick said he said that, not you. You didn't say that. Nick said that. So
he can say what he wants. I'm one of the stewards on it. I don't care what he says. But
both of them say a lot of things that they remember years on. But you know,
and I think as well is that whatever differences he had at certain times where it was just so obvious that he wasn't enjoying himself, I think he's enjoying it. It still would be nice if he smiled a bit more like he used to, but I think he feels the pressure more these days, and I think that since Troy Deeney came out, and again I said this to a West Brom fan on on YouTube earlier, that he gets targeted, and this West Brom fan was saying
he does get targeted.
Yeah, but the thing is, it used to be just us as Palace fans that said he gets targeted, right? But then Troy Deeney came out and went, "Yeah, no, we just take it in turns to kick him."
Yeah.
and now the whole world goes, "Oh yeah, all right then." Now a baller's said it,
But didn't we say at the top of the show, he's got to learn to deal with that pressure, and the temperament has got to be. Well, he's got to temper that, hasn't he? He's got to learn not to react. So there was one occasion today in the first half where he lost possession. He was fouled, I thought. The referee didn't give it, and he really did get into the guy, and it was a foul. And you thought, oh, he's going to get booked here. And Tierney calls him over, and Wilf's put his finger up. He's the first one, ref, and he calls him over. There's a quiet word with him, and the game carries on. Other refs might have booked him. So he's got to learn to deal with that. He really has. But he gets kicked from the top. But with a player like Eze in the side, and Schluppy got fouled a few times today as well, they're skillful players on the ball. We're going to win free kicks around the edge of the box. And you look at all the good sides, that's what they do. They win free kicks. They win penalties. You don't win penalties and free kicks around the edge of the box by luck. You win them because you're good players and you get fouled. Yeah?
Yeah, he said that is a very fair point, a good point. I mean, even John Goodman, picked up on it, didn't he? He said, "Look, they've already left one on Wilf, and they're having words already." And he said he always gets that. He's got to learn to deal with it. So everything the pair of you have said, Yeah, and as you quite rightly say, is now being picked up by other people, and professionals. So maybe that'll stand them in a bit of good stead with refs. They won't, they won't say stop whinging, stop, complaining. They'll actually see them that a good 80% of the tackles that he gets are fouls, aren't they? I mean, unlike Jack Grealish.
Yes.
Don't talk about that. I just want to pick up something in the chat. The real panels out there, boys. Say good evening to Paul. Will said in his post-match interview today how much he enjoys playing with Eze and what a quality player he is. Zaha saying about Eze what a quality player he is. I think we've got something a little bit special. Good point, Paul. Nice to have you on board, mate. Nice to see you out there. Right, so we haven't even spoken about any of the goals, have we? So just to let you know, as we speak now, Joel Matip on the 68th minute has just put Liverpool 3-0 up against Wolves. So the first goal...
It's just about to happen.
I'm a Wolves fan. I'm gratting his floor tomorrow. I told it today, and I'm gratting it in the morning. He gave me so much shit when they beat us the other week. He thinks it's so good as well.
So the first goal what was the first goal? Is that low cross that Darnell diverted into the back of his net?
Yeah.
Could he do anything about that? Anybody?
Well, I don't know.
Not really.
Late finish.
No. Good cross. The cross won. The assist was the quality ball in. The defender got a foot on it. It happens.
It was the turn, though, wasn't it? The turn to get him into that space. He just left. I mean, him and Eze did some of the turns and pirouettes they were doing. They were twisting them inside and out.
Yeah.
Okay, and I did want to touch on their player, the one that our former target, Conor Gallagher, he's low-driven equaliser. Good goal, good player, I think. Yeah,
definitely. I like the look of him. He scored last week as well. He's young. He's on loan from Chelsea, isn't he? He's one that I'd watch, especially if West Brom do get relegated and they're going to send him back to Chelsea anyway. But he's certainly one I'd watch and be interested in maybe picking him up down the line. Who knows? But I like him.
I think we were interested in him. We decided to take Batshuayi instead.
Yeah, he turned us down though, didn't he? I thought.
Oh, did he?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, he turned us down, so we went, okay, we'll have Batshuayi instead. But yeah, I think it's a great player. If he learns to stay on his feet, he'll be an even better player because he likes to drop to the floor at the first opportunity as well. And I think that's something he needs to take out of his game. But yeah, good player.
Pre-show, guys, one of you was talking about the potential penalty that could have gone their way in the first half. Anybody talk me through that?
I didn't see that. I didn't think it was a penalty. Jill, that was you.
No, I'm just saying. I obviously, I've watched the highlights, but I listened to the whole game on the radio, and comms were even after VAR. They were. James Scowcroft, he ain't got nothing. He's a good guy for us. He likes us, but he says we got away with one. So. But he said our VAR, and they're watching the slow-mos because obviously VAR does their stuff first and then it's released to the TV companies to show. And he said, that's not a penalty. It's wrong. That's not a penalty. So, and that's literally one of our own that's saying that. So, but yeah,
it's funny, isn't it? It's funny because Don Goodman said that's never a penalty. Stand up. And Michael Oliver was the VAR ref, wasn't he? So, I mean, it's funny how people see the same thing different ways, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Having said all that, I thought West Brom were a little bit unlucky not to be even in front. I mean, the header, they hit the bar. It was a great effort. They had a little purple patch for about 15 minutes, didn't they, West Brom, before they scored?
It was
just before sending off. And they looked decent, They looked a decent side. I think I messaged or tweeted something saying we're second best at the moment, and we were at that stage. We end up winning 5-1. It's a funny old game.
I want to talk about the red card now. So it seemed unclear, even after multiple replays, whether the Baggies forward had intended his boot to go into contact with Patrick Van Aanholt's midriff while he was on the ground. But Paul Tierney had no doubt after viewing the incident on the pitch side monitor. Was it conclusive, guys? Anybody?
This is my take on it. I thought it looked worse in real time. In real time than it did in slow mo. In slow mo, didn't look much to it. But in real time, that looked as if he was kicking out at him, and therefore he's got to go. I think it was soft, but I think he still should have gone, and he did.
Jel?
Yeah, no, like I say, I've seen it, on the highlights and seen it slow mo, seen it real time, and it does seem to be now that if the referee is asked after he's made any decision, if he's asked to go to the monitor, like I said, we were talking. I've only seen one decision, and that was Fred, Man United in the week, where he quite clearly headbutted the fella, and he got a yellow card. I mean, it's just so. The referee went over to the monitor. I looked at him. We just nah, it's an headbutt, yeah, but he's made the meal of it. Yellow card. It should have been a red. But that today, like you said, it could have gone either way. I mean, we've been on the end of some shitty little VAR decisions, but then once again we're on the side of probably game changing. I mean, the two players.
One thing for sure, it changed the game.
Yeah, and all the West Brom fans that I've looked at the comments and stuff have turned around and said that the two game changers that they have in the side, the people that can literally turn a game, is Gallagher and Pereira. And that Pereira, apparently is an half decent player. I don't know anything about him, but yeah, I mean, it worked in our favour, obviously. And then from there, where we were up until that point, I think we were down on possession. After that, we were. What was the possession stats today? Because I had an interesting
50-50.
Oh, okay. So we've never won a game. We've never won a Premier League game where we've had more possession than the other side. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that was a stat. I just wanted to pick up on a couple.
That's all.
If it had been 51, no, stolen it off a radio, mate. Sorry, I will put my hands up for that.
In the chat, Joan Wells thought it was a harsh decision. Lee Lockwood agrees with what I was about to say. He moved his legs with intent towards PVA, straight red. And the bottom line is that's exactly what he did. Think about Beckham and against the Argentinian fella all those years ago. That was with intent. Okay, he kicked out. Simeone, and it was a red card.
Diego the dog.
So, what's your thoughts out in the chat? Was it right to give him a red card? Was it not? Up to you. Let us know. Let's move on to the second half. 55th minute. Excellent low strike from Wilfried Zaha into the back of the net. Pretty decent strike, Ian Lyons.
Yeah, right across the goalkeeper. It's nice. He's obviously been working on his shooting, hasn't he? Because even in the first half, when he wriggled free, and in the first couple of minutes, he just put one just shy of the corner of the crossbar in the post. So he's far more clinical now, isn't he? I mean, he's already got 2 more goals than he did for the whole of last season. So again, long way to continue. He seems to be getting more of an end product, and that is what will get people to pay the money that we're asking for him.
But don't you think he's playing? Because he's playing in a different position this season. He's playing up top. He's not playing wide. And
when you've got something as tricky as that, Ian, no centre back wants to come up against someone like Wilf.
Absolutely.
So it's always bemused me why we've played at playing in there for a game or two or whatever. I mean, when him and Townsend were up front, they started scoring quite a lot of goals together, didn't they? And then because when you play a player like that out on the wing, all the players are looking to do are hit him to the stand. It's easier to isolate a player like that out on the wing than it is when they're in the middle of the pitch with different options. I know what Joe was saying about options, but when he has a lot of options around him, and he works into positions, and they don't want to give free kicks away. So he's definitely added that to his game.
Joe,
I've said that for years. Will stick him up front. Literally stick him up front because the centre backs can't. You can't kick him. They can't put 2 centre backs on him because they'll be too close together. That would encourage a runner to go through them. They'd have to play man marking. Take a player out of midfield, and then you've got a midfielder and a defender. If he goes 1-on-1 with a defender, you've got 2 players to try and kick him. And teams don't do that. But like Ian just said, you stick him out on the wide, and you can pull a defender and a midfielder over, and all you're doing is you're pulling the play over. But when he's going through the centre, running at you, you're almost one on one.
Come back to the goal. It's a trademark Wilf goal. It was, as Jel said, it's very similar to the one he scored at Huddersfield a couple of years ago. Just fantastic. He cuts in and lets go. Brilliant. Fantastic.
Again, from the corner behind the goal, the camera to left of the goal, you can see he started it on the post and it finishes 2 feet inside. I mean, the keeper's got absolutely zero chance.
Joe, you just a little freeze from you then, just then. I think it was your end. Wilfried Zaha has scored 7 goals in 9 Premier League games for Palace so far this season. Zaha's previous 7 goals came in 49 appearances. So 4 minutes after Zaha.
Is that 14 goals in 58 appearances then?
Yeah, using the Benteke analogy.
Yeah, using the Benteke methodology.
So after only 4 minutes after the Zaha goal, following a chip into the box from what I described earlier as a poor PVA, Benteke scored off the back of his head.
With the back of his head, it was the front of his head.
It was the front of his head.
It was there. I mean, if it's what do you used to call him, Jel?
Crown.
50 pence piece.
We've done
this one already earlier.
No. I will have to say that had that been Gary Cahill was the defender in front of that goalkeeper, and it was their forward that was stooping down to head that ball, that Gary Cahill would have kicked his head into Rome.
Exactly, he would have straight through it.
I was amazed because if you look at Benteke's eyes, watch him if you can watch it and freeze frame it for the camera behind the goal to the right hand side this time, he has a sly look to see whether that boot's coming, and it doesn't come, and it gives him the impetus to carry on and stoop down. But I reckon if that boot was coming, mate, I think that would have been a slightly different. I think he'd have bottled it. But I mean, who's not going to want to bottle stooping down for a header when you're about to get your head kicked into the stand? So, but the fact is, the challenge never came, and it was a great finish across the goalkeeper, no chance. So again, credit where credit's due. He's took a relatively hard chance and made it look simple.
Yeah, and I know we covered the other Zaha goal, the one that you played with Eze earlier on to make it 4-1. But on the 82nd minute, Benteke scored from a fine turn and shot, from what I described in my notes as an informed striker. Question, gentlemen, what is this all about? What's all this knee slapping goal celebration?
He's always
celebration. He's always done that, hasn't he?
He's always
Can somebody explain? It's a bit like the Andy Johnson hamburger celebration.
I don't know. He did it. I remember doing it when he scored twice at Liverpool when we won 2-1 up there 3 years ago. I think he's just always done that. The thing is, the reason we can't remember it very much is because he doesn't score very often. But when he does score, maybe he's just into that old, dancing thing. I don't know. No, I better not say anymore.
So final scorer.
He ain't got any rhythm, mate, if that's dancing.
It's about as good as yours, isn't it?
Well, he's got 2 left feet, that's for sure.
Bit of break dancing from Christian Benteke.
So Roy Hodgson has won 11 Premier League games against his teams he's previously managed in the division. No manager has won more matches. Harry Redknapp and Sam Allardyce both have 11 wins against their
because
clubs.
He's 73, that's why.
He's been managing for
50 years.
So what do we do? Right, ladies and gentlemen in the chat, there's still hundreds of you out there watching. Let me know, what do we do? Give me your score predictions, please, against Spurs next Sunday. I believe it's somebody help me, 2:30.
2:15.
2:15 kickoff. Thank you, Mr. Noble.
I'll be there.
So any of you got tickets for the Spurs game?
I'm there.
No.
Ian Noble, please talk us through initially, while everybody's getting their predictions in for next week. Talk to me about the allocation process for tickets and how you found out, and what was the criteria, please.
Okay, criteria is based on the parish points, and season ticket holders and bubble allocation. So they've looked at 3 things, and most people got their emails on Friday. I hadn't got mine on Friday, so I thought I missed out, and I got one on Saturday, so I've been offered a ticket. And then I think there's another emailed you, which I've got to respond to accept the ticket by Tuesday. And then on Tuesday, once I've accepted the ticket, I'll then get a health questionnaire sent to me on Thursday, and I've got to fill that out. And only once I've filled that out and sent it back do I get my e-ticket emailed to me that I then use to get into the game. So my season ticket doesn't count. At the moment, I don't know where I'm sitting, whether it's Holmesdale Lower, Upper, or Whitehorse Lane, but it's one of those three places. 2,000.
So do you have to have had a COVID test?
No,
because they're not available yet.
No, you just need to you have to declare that you're healthy, basically. So you could say anything, couldn't you? Of course, but
of course you could.
So I think if you have got any symptoms, you're stupid you're stupid to leave the house, full stop. But you're stupid to go to a football match.
I think there are plenty of stupid
I've been watching
people
it with interest at these other grounds, and frankly, it still looks as if there are no fans there because you can't really hear much. So it's going to be a surreal experience. I'm really looking forward to it because it's an historic day.
Ian, I'm glad you mentioned about the atmosphere, because I was actually half surprised at the noise the Spurs fans were making this afternoon.
Yeah.
They got together in the 2000 in unison with their boring "Come on, you Spurs." They even had a rendition of when the Spurs go marching in. It actually did make a difference. I actually turned the Southampton.
Yeah, but they play it through the speakers anyway. Even when they got 60,000 there, they put the speakers.
And they put the words up on the screen, just in case they don't know.
Yeah.
Come on, you Spurs! They actually put it up on the electronic screen. They do. I mentioned that on the day that we played them at the opening game at whatever stadium they call it now, the new White Hart Lane, and I couldn't believe it. There was 60,000 of them in the ground. Okay. There's 60,000 of them in the stadium, 3,000 of us in the corner, and we outsung the 60,000, even though they had their song sheet going around the electronic scoreboards, both at pitch side and on the different tiers. Go, come on, you Spurs. And then in the background, you could hear the Spurs fans go, come on, you Spurs. That's exactly how it happened. That is as bad as Brighton's.
But Brighton do the same thing with it, because obviously
Sussex by the sea, I know.
Yeah, but that's only because the Chelsea, Arsenal, and Liverpool fans that live down there don't know the words. They don't know the words to their own clubs. So
Nick, do you want some omens from the real panel about next week?
Yes, mate, come on, Paul, give us your best.
So I'm going to read this to you. So 16 points, right, we've got so far, is our joint best return from our first 11 games in the Premier League, which we also got in 2015-16. 5 wins from our first 11 Premier League games of a season also equals our best again in that same season. 17 goals scored from the first 11 games is our best ever return in the Premier League. And a good omen for this season is the only other time we've started with 5 wins, drawn, and 5 defeats in 11 games. We got to the FA Cup final in that same season. So, who knows? We might find that we've got another trip to Wembley, except only about 10 of us will be able to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, in case you didn't get that, that's from a guy who on Twitter is the real panel. If you do not follow him, that's the quality of stuff that he puts out on a regular basis, and he supplies to me on the show on a regular basis. Massive thanks to you, Paul. Thank you, mate. So the predictions in the chat: Teresa Baker is going for a 2-1 Palace. Mark Drew saying 3-0 lost. Ian Appley saying 1-1. Andrew Adams is agreeing 1-1. Jonathan Cook saying 0-3. Who else? We've got Tom Clark Samuel says 2-1 win with Sung with his obligatory goal because he got the score. Did any of you see Sung's goal today? What a corker of a goal that was. Yeah. With Benteke and Cahill also scoring. Colin Squires, good evening, Cole. 1-1. Summer Kisson's gone 2-0 Spurs. John Knox is saying 1-1. Max Francis saying 2-3. Daniel Garlick saying 2-0 Palace. Just say no. Richard Harvey, his usual pessimistic self, saying not 4-0 loss. I hope you put money on that, Rich. Right, go on, boys. Okay, Ian Lyons, a score prediction for next Sunday, please.
3-1 Spurs.
3-1 Spurs, okay. Ian Noble.
And that's our master predictor saying that. 2-1 win.
Really? I love your enthusiasm. Really. Okay, now Mr. Doom and Gloom.
I'll be happy with that.
Mr. Doom and Gloom. Yes, I'm talking to you, Benny.
Benny.
Desmond.
Desmond Tutu. I'll be quite happy with it. I'll be quite happy with that.
Pretty
Right,
happy
boys,
with that.
listen, it's gone 9 o'clock on this Sunday evening, and we take up lots of people's time. I've got a couple of thank yous to say, of course, in the background, ladies and gentlemen, and I would like your appreciation, please, in the chat. All the way from this show this evening is not coming from Colston or Bromley or Orpington or down in Sussex. This show this evening is actually being broadcast to you directly from New Zealand. Okay, we have a brand new producer join the team, Tim Richards. Is in New Zealand. He's a paid regular. Can you please show your appreciation in the chat for what he's done this evening? It's been not a single thing has gone wrong so far, mate. You're a superstar. Thank you so much for giving up the time to learn how to do it from Lucy. Lucy can giving up the time to show you, and for what you've done this evening. It's gone swimmingly, mate. Well done. Ian Lyons, you were about to ask something.
Yeah. For those of you in the prediction league, thanks again for getting your predictions in nice and early. The next set of fixtures will be going out tomorrow. Teresa Baker, well done for Manager of the Month for November.
Well done, honey.
You've still got to get me your details so you get your prize money. So don't forget to send me your details.
What does she win? A bottle of leaf from Milch?
Blossom Hill.
You'll never know, Ian, because you will never win Manager of the Month, mate.
You deserve that, Noble. You deserve that.
Can I just? Are we going to advertise the OOOO yet or not?
We'll probably do a. Okay, as now he's mentioned it, ladies and gentlemen, get onto Twitter, jump onto a Twitter page, OOOO, one of our own Palace. Now, this is a group of Palace fans that are setting up or have set up a charity specifically to help people at this time of year in homeless or need feeding or school kids, or particularly a school. Jel, can you give any more quick details? And we're going to be telling you more and more about OOOO. That's 4 O's over the next few weeks. Jel?
Yeah, no, it's just a charity that we're going to align ourselves with. And again, like you say, it's a registered charity. It's all fully legal. Once I think all the paperwork's been done, if not, it's in the process of being done. There's funds already available. There are actions already being taken with helping and aid, and the plans are to expand in multi directions. And the only help that they want is from Palace fans. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be interesting, and of course, you know, the clever part is, and you know, we love this as a club, as an acronym of one of our own. That's exactly what it's called, one of our own, the 4 O's. So if you can go and find them on Twitter or social media, and give them a follow, I'm sure that over the coming weeks you'll see the type of work that's going to be invested in a monetary and a physical way, and also there'll be ideas put out there for you, literally for the public to help. It's exciting. We've had a little chat with the people that are running it, and again, it's just Palace fans. And the other thing is that whoever they decide to help, it will be local to the football club. It will be in the close vicinity of the football club. It will be in the public glare. The records will be open to anyone to look at, and it's going to be a really, really worthwhile cause. That's not just for now. I talked to a friend of mine who's a teacher. Even 2 years ago, up to 2 years ago, he said to me that his school, which is in Chislehurst in Kent, didn't have paper. They could not afford paper for their printers. it's ridiculous. It's not a very good situation we find ourselves in at the moment. But this charity are going to be are setting up to help schools and other organisations local to the football club.
Yep. So I mean, they just to let you know, Paul Glancer just said where are they based? Well, at the moment they're based on Twitter under the 4 O's. One of our own Palace. You'll find them on there. Gel's quite right. They're going to keep it all local to SE25. Okay, everything they do, it'll be local to the pub. This is a charity that's going to be set up by Palace fans, and we're aligning ourselves with it because it's absolutely at the heart of everything Palace do. You know, they're already talking to the foundation. Can they help the foundation and all that sort of stuff? Everything that Palace already do, this is for supporters of different groups. There's lots of different Palace factions out there. I know I took the mickey out of some of them at the top of the show, but there's lots of different Palace factions. And what they're trying to do is pull as many of them together. Because I'm telling you now, we are, as a collective batch of supporters, doesn't matter which podcast you support and all the rest of it, we are a powerful bunch of people, okay? And we have the facility to make a difference, okay? And these people that are setting this up have recognised that. They've spoken to us. We're happy to align ourselves with them, and they're going to do some cracking work in the local SE25 community. So please, as Gel's already alluded to, jump on the Twitter, give them a like, give them a follow. They really appreciate it, and it gives you their outline of what they're planning to do on Twitter. It'll be really good. Be really good. So. Thanks for reminding me about that. Any last comments from you, Mr. Noble?
No, it's been a great show. Thanks for having me again, and a great time to be on. It's much nicer coming on here when we've won than when we've lost.
Yeah, I say that all the time, but I don't get a choice though. That's the trouble. Any last comments from you, Mr. Noble? Mr. Lyons?
No, just good show. Good to speak with the lads. Good to have Tudor Cud as always, and I wish everyone a good week.
Yeah, John and Joe, and last thought to you, and I'll say good night.
Yeah, no, I just thought I'd chuck you under the bus like you try and do me every week.
But no, you're right. You're right for doing it. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been Nick Philpott, your host this evening. And thank you to the boys that are joining me. Well done to Tim Richards in the background. Please stay safe. Please wear that mask. Please wear that mask. Please wear that mask. On behalf of me, I wish you a very good night. Thank you for joining us. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week for the Spurs.
Cheers, guys.
Good night.